Welcome back to another episode of HWisers, where we talk about the big, little things at Whis. I'm Dustin Cruz, your host for today. Today's topic that I have to discuss with you is life as a third culture kid, belonging everywhere and nowhere. Now, as a third culture kid myself, I've had many experiences, many highs and many lows. I've lived in 2 countries so far, Taiwan and Canada, but I've moved back many times. Now, for my episode today, I have 5 questions that I've been asked and I will discuss with you. Let's begin. The first question: what does being a third culture kid mean to you? To me, being a third culture kid makes me feel like I'm living in between worlds. I don't quite truly belong to one culture, but instead I carry many pieces. Many. This is especially since I'm Filipino, Taiwanese, and Canadian, and it's always given me an open mind as an individual. Additionally, it gives me much adaptability to different, environments. And it also gives me the further ability to connect with people from all kinds of backgrounds. While at the same time, it sometimes makes me feel like I don't have a single home, or home base if you're really into baseball. For the next question, how do you navigate identity when you've lived in multiple countries? For me, I navigate my identity by embracing the mix rather than just trying to choose one. I see my identified as layered, sort of like a cake. Like, you know how you eat a cake and it has like chocolate layering, then vanilla, then chocolate? Sort of like that. Except each layer is a different place where I've lived or nationality that I have. And each country that I've lived in, it adds a new layer on top of that cake. Instead of trying to fit perfectly into one layer, I allow myself to become a blend. And I often try to make it known that I come from a different culture. And I also often try to tell others how the cultures that I've been exposed to are different, way different than the current one that I'm in. The next question: what are the emotional highs and lows of growing up internationally? Me personally, the highs would be the experiences, such as travel, the friendships across cultures, and the unique perspectives that others may not have. I've also learned how to view the world from many different perspectives, especially since in the places that I've lived, I've been part of a very diverse community, where you have people of different color, of different ethnicities, and different races. But there are also lows, which would be the constant change, such as saying goodbye to friends, many of which you probably grew up with, not always feeling rooted into one place, and sometimes missing out on traditions or shared childhood memories from one place. This was really true to me, especially since when I moved back to Taiwan to study, I would often be feeling left out, especially since they've known each other since they were young, and I was just new. But in the end, I sort of blended in with the people, and I've become more accepted. The same was true when I moved back to Canada, because everybody had known each other, especially since the town that I lived in, it was small, so everybody just knew each other. They were all friends, all of that. But in the end, the same was true. I became friends with everyone again. But then I moved back to Taiwan. For the 4th question, I was asked, how do you answer the question, where are you from? Usually when I'm asked this question, I give a straightforward answer and just say that I was born in Canada. And for the final question, what advice would you give to a new student adjusting to international school life? The advice I would give would to be open-minded and curious about others, especially since everybody comes with a different story. So don't be afraid to share yours, and ask about theirs. At the same time, give yourself some patience, especially since adjusting takes time. It took me almost 1 year to adjust when I moved back to Canada, and nearly 2 years to adjust when I moved back to and meta. And it's okay to feel out of place at first, but eventually you'll find friends who understand the third culture kid experience and make you feel at home. Well, that's all the time I've got for today. This is Dustin Cruz signing off, and be sure to tune in for the next HWisers podcast.